Are you becoming more valuable? Who's become more valuable to their wife? We got 6 of those, actually. Good. One doesn't know. But 5 out of 6 say they become more valuable to their wife. She's become more valuable to you. That's more important. It's good. You know, for Wednesday morning, this kind of just flew everybody, and we talked about it, you know, and then Wednesday afternoon, somebody said, wait a minute, you've been telling us we're never going to be more loved and valued than we are right now. And that's right. This back to this love, called, and appointed. The value you've been given, and Jesus sees that value. You're loved, called, and appointed. And yet, listen to what he's saying. Remain in me. The Father wants maximum fruit production. I was with a bunch of private equity guys on Wednesday, or talking about that subject a little bit, is a better way to say it. And he said, I don't know if I want to stay in private equity because everybody just want accumulation. The purpose of their business is to accumulate for themselves. No matter what cloak they put on it, they're Christian businessmen, and they're really trying just to accumulate stuff so they control more stuff. But see, the Father is similar. It's just a different subject. It's a different end. He wants maximum fruit production from us. He's the gardener. He's pruning us for it. When you get pruned, you become more valuable. When you remain in the vine, you become more valuable. We're going to prove it. And so, not your love, not your calling. And Jesus and God see you for what Jesus has paid for gloriously and love perfectly, and yet they're saying, come on. All of this, John 15, 1-17, is saying that. Love, called, and appointed, use it. And it's not a performance. Salvation is certainly not performance, and yet the more fruit we bear, we saw this in the parable of the minas, some people are going to have 25 cities in heaven. There's glory. There's more glory. Come on, get the focus of our work on the right ends and become more valuable. You certainly see it. You've coached baseball. You've played baseball all your life. Like, is a player more valuable to the team when he does what he's supposed to do? Are people more valuable and less valuable at Deloitte? Yeah. Okay. So come on. It's that way in every other area of our life. Every other area, like, are we doing value? Am I trying to be more valuable? So right here, the value he's saying, yes, you can become more valuable. And part of that is given, stay in me and remain in me. I got you. You'll never be more loved than the Father loves you. That's right. And your mission and your purpose is no greater than what he's given you. We try to tweak it a little bit, but it's no greater than what he's given you. And now remain in his ways, and you do become more valuable. Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and favor with God and man. And he said, without the Father, I can do nothing. So the perfection that he has, that we don't have, is that we get disconnected. He was God-man, and he never did anything not connected to the Father. Without the Father, I can do nothing. So that's in John 8. He's telling people because he just did some incredible stuff. And then he's saying we have that same chance. Stay connected, remain, and you can become more valuable. And again, now let's mix the world and let's stay focused, okay? Because God made all these things we're working on too. We just get distracted about what they're about. How does a business or an organization increase in value? Dallas Willard said business is provision for people. Unless it does something for somebody, it doesn't grow. Look at even a worldly example. The most valuable company today is what? Huh? That's based on projections. I think Apple may not be today.
It's not Walmart?
Over the best, huh?
It's not Walmart?
Definitely not. Huh? Tesla may have grown there. In the last year, the one that's held that spot the most is probably Apple, okay? And it does change in what people think it's going to be. The stock market is a gamble on what will be value, but over the sustainable revenues and what's happening, sustainable serving customers, Apple's the best. Look, I mean, you can read all you want to about Steve Jobs, and I don't know his spiritual condition, but that business was about supplying awesome stuff for people the whole time. It was about that. Value came later. I mean, nickel value came later, and value is how much we're serving people and changing the world. We just look right here. There's nothing else we have Quarter zips come a close second, but there's nothing more we have in here than a close, than these devices. Here's the way it works. If you deploy what you have, Robert, that's what you're explaining, to the need of somebody, that becomes more valuable. The projection, at the end of the day, the projection doesn't change if we don't really do it. Now, people have messed with the math, and you can play a numbers game, but that's kind of like on the first tee box. Eventually, if I handicap this thing wrong, eventually that catches up with me. So I have to do something. I have to deploy what I have for the needs of others. That's how companies do it. And means and resources. Nickels are to be, money is to be used and manipulated toward the good of others. It's what we put into something that creates value, not what we take out. Now, the people that we owe an investment return, but we don't get that return if we don't produce more milk, if we don't produce more stuff. That's good for people, and eventually the market does correct itself. Sandy Wilson did a great job on that. The things, if we're really providing a good service for somebody, the market will come and go, but eventually it'll serve somebody well. How quickly we could say it's about nickels. And we're constantly reminded of that. But the greatest businesses that you can look back at did not focus on that first, even those that were not redemptive in nature. They didn't. It is what the bosses asked about yesterday for many of us, or your investment did, or you've made claims of those things in performance. Yes, but the greatest is, did I provide value? It doesn't last if it doesn't. That's one reason they're generational and they fade away. They become about just the means. They just come about the nickels, but instead of providing value. So we said in those, it's like it is a referral would be stronger at the end of the day than nickels is a leading indicator of what would be good, of what would last for longer. Okay? Let's keep going. So then if that's how businesses increase in value, how do you increase in value? Let's go back to our original question. How do you increase in value? When I'm pruned. Good. There's a point for going back to this, for sure. That's one of the ways, when I've been pruned and reshaped, I went down that direction, I turned around, went the other direction, and now I kind of understand how to serve. No matter how long I've been married, we'll turn around and walk. I don't know, where'd that come from? Now I learned not to do that again. we learn and get pruned and go the other way. It's certainly in work, it's that way. Well, this client loves it this way, this one doesn't. I have to change. So I'm loved, called, and appointed. I know it. I'm following his commands. And then I'm using, who's been uniquely gifted? You have unique gifts. And you test them out. And do they work? And the more I use them, the more I become valuable. The more I hold them to myself, I'm not valuable. Okay? So it's like this. When we know what we have, we know what we've been given, we know what's necessary, we know what we have in the vine, we know, I know if I know my job's to bear fruit, I'm going to become more valuable when I bear fruit. I know that. I'm going to start, who's getting better and better at looking at seeing the fruit of this situation, the fruit that lasts. It comes through maybe I think he says that twice for a couple of reasons. It comes through maybe the other things he calls fruit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness. I'm not going to get it by going and squeeze. You don't hear that squeezing margin out of this thing. You hear about love and patience is how I'm going to do it. But who's getting better at seeing what the lasting fruit of your 2 o'clock meeting might be? My 2 o'clock meeting is about lasting fruit. I'm a child of God, loved, called, and appointed. And I'm moving into this human situation. So I got to know those things, and then I can do it. Then I can deploy my gift. And if I goof it up, I learned I get pruned. That was embarrassing. I didn't do that very well. Now I know how to do it a little better. Maybe I overshared there. Maybe I did this. Maybe I didn't take time to ask questions to see what their need really was. Because that's one of the ways I'm going to recognize them as a valuable person. So maybe I didn't value them. Maybe I saw them. I did. My own confession is I probably did a great job in many ways. Not in every way. No wonder many people in here this morning, so I can say it. Okay, but I'm teasing. But, I made a commitment to love and serve these guys, but sometimes I saw New York and London, my bosses there, is like just conduits to get us what we needed so we could love and serve these people and build this great, loving, serving organization that's producing all this fruit. But I see them as conduits. Well, that's not valuing them as people. Hey, just if you give us these next 8 hires, we'll do better than anybody in the country. So I got to move into, wait a minute, everybody's valuable, and what's the fruit-bearing moment of this difficult conversation? I am just trying to help grow the business, but what's a way to do it that doesn't alienate people? Okay, so today's objectives in the last 26 minutes is this: to become more valuable as we know the value given to us and pass value to others. That's how it happens. That's that diagram in a sentence. That was the corporate diagram. That's your personal diagram. I become more valuable if I know I'm valuable. You are valuable. You've been given unique gifts by the Lord Jesus himself. Now, how am I deploying them toward fruit that lasts? I'm getting really good at these spreadsheets. I'm getting really good at pricing the deal. I'm getting really good at matching needs. And now I've become more and more comfortable at doing those things. That's that comparison to dribbling. And now I can dribble fine. The basics I'm supposed to do in my industry, that's competency, right, Michael? I said, okay, I think we've almost listed them all. And I can move into it and serve somebody else. Okay, it works like this. God gives me value. And even he says we're made as worshipers to give glory back. And all of our life is worship, not just Sunday. Go and worship and get centered, for sure, and give glory back to God. But then he's saying, now go out. David Platt's church said, now you're entering the Great Commission. As you leave, you're filled up. Now go give value to the world and bear fruit. Go. And as you do that through others, Paul sold tents all over the world, all over the known world, all over the modern world of that time, up to Greece. Roman contacts. Maybe it's the Roman army that bought those tents because that was what Tarsus was known for, the black tents of Tarsus. So he went all over the world doing things, but he went all over the world spreading this word, and a couple of thousand years later, we're great beneficiaries of that. How many generations, how many arrows through that? But he did work, he did business so that he could bear fruit. We have God-given value. Who's sure of that? That's where the pushback was. Who's sure of that? Okay.
Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground.
What are some things you see in this? Who knows these verses well? A lot of you really know it well, but what do you see in these?
His own image. Made in his own image.
In whose image?
God.
God himself. So as you push back, I'm not going to be more valuable than I am made in his image. That's a fair pushback. But he's still, you're made in the image of God. Let us make man in our image. Also, he didn't, not a lot of plan Bs. I love that one because it's just clear there's not a plan B. They're all there together from the very beginning. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to bring maximum fruit production. Here's how we choose to do it. Let us. And then do you have a better job description? Rule. Subdue. Wild animals, name them. Be creative. You're created, go create. You're blessed, go bless. You're filled, go fill. Go procreate. And you can, and spiritual children, John and Paul talk a lot about that. And in my spiritual children, I have no greater joy to know that my children walk in the truth. Living creature, moves on the way. So I'm ruling over it all. It's all ours. We're trying to get more times, but it's all ours. We're loved. We're created. This description's beautiful, and it totally aligns with your work description. Okay, we'll create some better projects. If we run this project right, these people will be subduing and creating, and in this new building, and it'll be fabulous, and it'll be glory given. Now, but put all things under His lordship. So it's a great building. They're going to be able to produce more product. Now it's under His lordship. How can I help them be fruit that lasts? Okay?
Dear friends, now we are children of God, and what we will be has not yet been made known. But we know that when Christ appears, we shall be like Him, for we shall see Him as He is.
So I was made in His image, and what am I going to be like? What is this saying? I'm headed to be like Jesus. These bookends He gives us, really solid stuff. That's the most understated statement I've made. You're going to be like Him. When you see Him face to face, when you say, Lord, you're going to go, wow, I'm going to be like Him. I'm not going to be God. You're not going to be God, but I'm going to be like Him in ways. And then we're going to continue to work. You're going to be more like yourself in heaven, most theologians believe, than you know. Just a perfect version of it. Your uniqueness, what you love about other people, that uniqueness is going to come out. It's going to be perfect like Jesus and loving and caring. And maybe we're going to be operating in cities and doing things. It's only going to be one big city. One big piece of glory. You're going to be like Him. It's going to be active. It's not going to be this meme. And so I get to practice now. Imperfectly. I'll mess it up today. But I'll go forward. I'm going to be like Him. I'm made in His image. I'm going to be perfectly like Him, imperfection. Now, make today about that. It's glorious. It's a better day. If it's not a better day, call me. You have God-given value to give. You're uniquely made. And Jesus said, go and do likewise. Do it as He did it. And we can get it in our volunteer life. It's great. Keep doing that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying your day job's the same thing. We can read this one together. Remain as me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. And I wouldn't say this in the negative if Jesus didn't say it in the negative. Without being connected to Him, what you do is not valuable. It's not. It's not worth anything. You can do nothing without Him. So the stuff I need to connect to Him on, do it. Okay? Martin Luther King really understood this, and I'll read the quotes. Human progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through tireless efforts of men willing to be co-workers with God. You see that? Co-workers. Today is about co-working with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of forces of social stagnation. We must use time creatively in the knowledge that time is always ripe to do what's right. I like that. He was a good preacher too. Ripe to do what's right. It's today. You bear fruit today and moving forward with the people you've been given. The people you're going to interact with work today are people you've been given. Should you go out to the city and do more? Probably, like Cannon. He'll tell you how. But Keller says this, until we surrender that in our day job that we work 38 or 60 hours in, we don't even get how to love our neighbor. Surrender what you're given every day for the benefit of that, and then you can go love your neighbor. Don't separate those either. Maybe you've got to go. I had to go to Argentina to learn to serve Memphis. So, and it doesn't mean I don't need a new perspective. I don't need a new set of visions. I don't need a new set of possibilities. But I mean, this is on the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan, what happened? The guy's beat up on the side of the road, left for dead. Religious folks say, "Oop, late for church. Can't get there. I got something to do. I'm a priest and a Levite. Got something really important to do. Got to leave that guy there." They're saying, that's going to ruin my day, or I'm not going to be, my points at the synagogue are not going to be the same if I miss 1 out of 5. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to leave that guy there dead. The Samaritan, their hated enemy. This is ISIS. This is the person you despise the most. Jesus had already gone that way to care for a Samaritan woman. had to go a certain way, but the Samaritan stops and cares for this guy. And it's boiled down to this. The question is not, if I stop to help this man in need, what will happen to me? If I do not stop to help the sanitation workers, what will happen to them? That's the question. Now, that's his job. But your job, you've got people, who's going to have somebody in front of them who needs something today? They need to know they're made in the image of God. They need to know they're valuable. They need maybe your skill to help them along the way. Set up their business. What they're most stressed out about, Jesus met presenting needs first. So it's okay to meet their needs. And am I uniquely qualified to do it? That's the question. What will happen to them if I don't help? The little girl won't be able to read if people aren't doing that. But the guy in your office and the gal that your client you're serving, they need something too. If they don't know they're made in the image of God, they need to know it. If they don't know they're valuable, they need to know it. A valuable person is not trying to extract something from somebody else. A valuable person is giving their value to somebody else so that that person knows they're valuable. Give others value by seeing value in them. Wisdom is knowing about people. Wisdom is the ability to see deeply into who people are and know how they should move in these complex situations of life. That's the gift great illuminators share with those around them. I can see them. So like maybe our biggest next step problem is just seeing the value in the people we're working with and caring for them. We got to start there. Equally, I can see the little girl's value that I read to at the school. But every other person I'm working with all day long, I've got to be able to see their value. Let's see 4 minutes on this. Here's what he's saying, and this video will be in the video notes, and it is on the bottom of the article. That's the hero article on the site today. But gaze at them. How can you gaze at somebody? Y'all say this stuff out. Just make it practical so we can wrap up. How can you gaze at somebody and that care will come out of your eyes before it comes out of your mouth? Yeah, you matter. Yeah, I don't have to say you matter. I can say, how's your day? And I can ask that question flippantly, and then I can say it in a way that, do you really want to know? Well, then I got to say, yes, I do. We'll do accompaniment, a way of being in their circumstances and paying more attention to them than to yourself. What stuck out about that real quick? You went to the Grizz game last night? I went to the one that went in overtime the other night. It was awesome. Just ended the conversation completely. And then, who's thinking about what you're going to say next? You're loved, called, and appointed, and if you remain in Him and you focus on them, you know your business well enough, it'll come out. If you really listen to them, if you really listen to them, it'll come out. I don't have to cut off because I know some stuff. And so be with them. Don't be rushing to the next thing. I'm terrible at both those things. It's a total confession. And be a loud listener. Don't fear the pause. Stop listening so you can figure out what to say next by telling them about the same thing you did, but be better. I'm saying. So be with them. People know whether you're kind of there or you're on your phone. I've been to Google. I've been to Facebook. You're not allowed to multitask in the meetings. You're there. They don't let you put your devices out. If you're taking notes, they let you take notes. But if those places don't let you you can't multitask. Be where you are. That's huge right there. That'll change everything. Everybody is made in the image of God. Everybody has value to give. And as I'm gazing, what's the value? I know they're valuable. I'm trying to see their uniqueness. Okay? Giving others value by helping them increase their value. That's how you do it. You increase in value by recognizing others' value and helping them increase their value. You're going to become more valuable if you make the guy in the cubicle who doesn't want to talk to you in the office next to you, if you talk to him. That's how it's going to happen. What will happen to them if you don't? That quiet person, here's the good question, right? The one who seems to, may have a shame problem. They may have a extreme introversion problem. But what happens to them if you don't do anything? And if you're not there, if they get along with 3 other people, I'm going to ask, hey, what's the right way to care for that person? I'm going to ask their inner circle. a little bit if they have one. They don't have anybody. In fact, if nobody's caring for that person in the whole office, then maybe I am the person. If somebody else knows them better, maybe I triangulate for good. There's plenty of triangulation in every office, but there's triangulation for good. How do we help that person? Okay? You have everlasting value, so be part of the value exchange today. Your value is unstoppable, immovable, unconditional. You're loved unconditionally. You're given to do it. Jesus just saying, come on, remain, and let's bear fruit together today. What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has ever conceived, I added a word, the things God has prepared for those who love Him. Lord, you're so good to us all the time. You made us in your image to rule, subdue, to put things under your lordship, to bear fruit that will last. Other people would come to know you just by the way we work. Yes, help us do a good job in the basics of our job so that we can be confident enough to pass value to others, to care for them, to get to know them so well we have a chance to tell them what it means to last forever. Thank you that you're doing it no matter what. Thank you that you see us as so valuable. You didn't need us, but you use us to accomplish your great plans, and we're grateful for it, King Jesus. In your name, amen.